Petrilli on the right. And you can see our editor, Lauren Lee, here, covering the match for the print side of the coverage. Remember, the print side has a lot of information. You can check out, for example, Lauren Lee's excellent metagame breakdown for both the Invitational, Standard, and Legacy portions, and you can expect plenty more features from her this whole weekend.
Well, it looks like Trevor's going through, and it looks like he is going to shuffle away, because he did point it himself and shuffle away. We do not know if Josh is still on the first keep or not. As you can see, it's very early here, and there are not many people here yet. There are some people getting ready for the Legacy portion that will start, like I believe, what is it, in an hour? The signups in an hour, I believe, 9 o'clock.
The other tournament will begin at 10 a.m., signups at 9.
Yes.
We're also going to have 3 draft opens today. I know that you're going to actually, in those draft opens, there are going to be several, we'll call them ringers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Josh Choi, amongst others. I know Jerry Thompson. He came over here actually bright and early in the morning, and his plan is just to draft all day and see if he can win as many draft challenges as possible.
It'll be fun if you have not come down here yet and you still have time to come down here and draft, get into those draft opens. Maybe you will be drafting across to Jerry Thompson. See how you compare to him when it comes to drafting.
Well, I mean, it might be a hard challenge. Jerry is definitely more well known as a constructed player, but he is the highest rated Izzet player in the Planeswalker points, so you could consider him the guild leader of Izzet right now. Take that, Draco Genius.
Ah. All right. They are still shuffling up here. We're going to still determine what is happening here. Both men look very, very comfortable this morning. Good chance here. Single elimination now. We are looking forward to some great matches. But it'll be interesting after this round. After this round, I believe we will have our first trivia question.
First trivia question
of the day. A little warning ahead of time for you. It will not be about the Invitational, and it'll be about
about what?
a teaser about the Magic World Cup team. So I will give you a teaser of what the question will be.
Okay, Trevor Petrilli is the higher seed in this. He is the second seed coming into this. He gets to decide whether to play or draw. And like most players in Constructed, it appears he's choosing play.
Absolutely. All right, Josh is making his decision. Determine if he wants to keep. Tough times here because if Delbert keeps low, Trevor having fun with the camera. Looks like we're ready to go. Trevor, land. Averson Pilgrim right away.
And now the early mana acceleration is incredibly key for this matchup. And what he fears, though, is the dreaded gut shot, snappy gut shots.
Well, it looks like he has first turn ponder, or first turn, yep, ponder, to help set up. Set up his cards properly. Let's see what he does here. He draws land, mana leak, which he might keep. And he does. That'll help set up his Delver Secrets, which he does have in his hand.
No gut shots, a huge deal. This is one of the first steps towards Trevor being able to push around Delver. If Delver faces against mana acceleration, and then that mana acceleration is relevant in some way.
Cavern of Souls, naming,
we'll find out as soon as we get, but if that mana acceleration brings you into anything relevant, it's a huge deal. Trevor follows up with a little bit more mana acceleration. He has access to potentially 5 mana next turn.
He might have named Elf there, because he had to be able to cast that, which would be... Alright, Josh plays a land, passes, setting up potentially maybe a mana leak, which he does have in his hand. Looks like he has 2 mana leaks in his hand.
Now, Trevor Petrilli's deck goes all the way up a chain to Elish Norn. Both of these players have had full access to each other's deck lists, so none of this is a surprise to either player. You see a Mana Leak stopping Borderland Ranger. And in for 2 from Trevor Petrilli.
Okay, land, Delver.
2 mana still available. Trevor Petrilli untaps. He does the check for the possibility of a miracle.
When you look at Josh's deck, he's got the standard Delver, Geist, Snapcaster, 2 Augur Bolus, 1 Phantasmal Image main, 1 Restoration main, 2 Ruin Chanter Pikes, the 4 Gut Shots, like you said, which are standard of it, 4 Ponders, 4 Vapor Snags.
Oh, wait a second here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Sun Titan.
Is that gonna is that a giant that the cavern has named?
No, the giant named
it. It is a cavern on giant.
No, he named Elf.
Oh, did he name Elf?
Because he used it last turn. He used it last turn.
Okay,
in order
gotcha.
to cast it, yeah.
And the Delver flips. Now you can see that the race is starting to turn the other direction. Now, if we can find a gut shot here from Josh Robinson could just tear up Petrilli here.
Yeah, gut shot, Vapor Snag, Snapcaster Mage in his hand.
Wow, so he could, at this point, go gut shot, snappy gut shot, and reduce Trevor Petrilli's mana down to 4. He could.
In this case, it would be critical. It would be very important because he's running a 4-color pod, and he currently has, if he shoots out that bird, he'll currently only have access to 2 of his 4 colors. All right, he draws. Looks like he drew.
Apparently, the name on the cavern is actually Shaman.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
In for 3. Gut shot the bird. Is he going to go that one further step and snappy gut shot?
He has Thrag, Tusk, and Acidic Slime. Might not be the worst idea to take him down to 4 mana right away to prevent him from casting either one of those 2 spells.
I definitely am in favor of that.
And it also keeps the pressure on. Oh, he'll just pass.
He says pass. I personally would like just to choke Trevor Petrilli off of the possibility of 6 mana if he drew a land. Or if he didn't draw a land, the possibility of 5 mana. I mean,
yeah,
it makes a big difference. Oh. So there's a 6 mana available for Trevor. Will he be able to follow up his last turn Sun Titan with something interesting? Metamorph. Does this Metamorph work? He has paid 2 life in order to make sure the Metamorph has 3 mana available back. He copies the Insectile Aberration.
Huh.
And then looks like he's going to attack.
Okay, he will swing in for 2. That will take Josh down to 13.
I think it's very likely we're going to see a Vapor Snag on that Metamorph. And then, well, maybe a Vapor Snag on that Metamorph. There it is. Get out of the way, Metamorph. Take 1, go to 14.
Yep, and that will help because that'll take this turn potentially, yep, Trevor down to 11.
And he says go. Now remember, Snapcaster Mage in Josh's hand means that if Trevor doesn't draw a land and Trevor once again plays around Mana Leak, it's going to be 2 more life. He plays Blade Splicer instead.
Yes.
That adds 4 power to the table on Trevor Petrilli's side. Only 1 card in hand, which we know to be that Phyrexian Metamorph.
After yesterday, I guess they decided to get rid of the hockey players as golems. We had sharks for wolves yesterday on the board. So
Trevor Petrilli swings in for just 1, leaving himself an Avacyn Pilgrim back. Pays 2 life once again to Metamorph, and that pulls the Mana Leak.
We know Josh does have a 5th land in his hand.
In for 3. If you're just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here with Robert Martin. This is the semifinal round of the Star City Games Live Open Series. Later today, we'll get you the top 8 of the Star City Games Invitational here in Atlanta, Georgia. And then finally, we're going to close out the weekend with the Legacy Open.
Basically, it's an afternoon of Legacy. Non-stop Legacy.
These are the last 2 rounds of Standard that you'll see probably on camera for this current Standard.
Yep.
Unless you really, you know, are looking for, you know, the archives, I guess.
Okay, looks like he's going to swing in with everybody.
That is a grand total of 5 attackers. Or sorry, 5 power of attackers.
Okay. Snapcaster kills.
Take 4, says Trevor. This knocks Josh Robinson to 8. 6 mana back. We see another Avacyn Pilgrim, and that empties out the hand.
Okay, we know that Josh still has that Ponder in his hand. And now he has the Snapcaster to be able to block that Golem coming through next turn, if he so chooses.
Trevor is a hair's breadth away from being killed. Now, with the Snapcaster in hand, if Trevor doesn't find a cheap answer to that Insectal Aberration, a Mana Leak is going to be in his future.
Still no third color. Has not seen red yet.
Yep, the Dead Bird. Josh Robinson stopped earlier with using Gut Shot, Snappy Gut Shot, and just used the Gut Shot to keep Trevor off of red. That looks like a birthing pod. Now, if Trevor were at 4 life, he could be very aggressive and pay some life here, but he is not.
So he swings in with everybody. That will be 6 damage. Taking Josh to potentially 2, but we do know he has a Snapcaster in hand. Snapcaster Vapor Snag on the Golem.
Well, I mean, if I were Josh Robinson, I would just take it. You've seen each other's deck lists. You know Trevor has no reach for the most part. Just take it.
Okay. Looks like he does.
It's possible the life totals are off, but...
Restoration Angel. Or Deceiver X, sorry. Okay. And that would be it. That's game 1 to Josh Robinson with Blue-White Delver.
So that's our first win of the morning, but there's more wins to be had yet for everyone out there in our viewing audience. I'm Adrian Sullivan.
Robert Martin.
Now, one of the things we do during every one of these open top 8s is we do some giveaways. These giveaways are pretty simple. Basically, we'll ask you a trivia question and give away months of free premium. At the semis, that's a 6-month giveaway of free premium. And you get a lot of great content from this. And it's one of those things that I feel like if you are a tournament Magic player, you should be reading Star City Games Premium. It's just, I think, necessary in the current internet age to make sure you have as much information as you possibly can get.
You're one of those premium writers, correct?
Yeah, I've been doing that for a long time.
Okay.
I took a little bit of a break as I was wrapping up grad school, but other than that, I mean, I've been writing on the premium side for, I think, something like 7 years.
Yes.
But one of the things to think about, let's pretend that you're out there, you're like, you know what, I don't really think that the premium has much to offer me. Well, where you're wrong is this. Your opponents are likely, if they take Magic seriously, to have read premium, and you know what? People do this all the time. They say to themselves, you know, Sam Black, he's a great deck builder. I'm going to play the deck Sam Black wrote about this week. Jerry Thompson, I like what he does. I'm going to play what he wrote about this week. And then there you are, you're playing against this deck, and you can know exactly what they have in their main deck and sideboard because you read Star City Games Premium. So, to get this, if you answer the trivia question that's going to be asked by Robert correctly with the hashtag SCG Premium, one person amongst those lucky winners will be selected at random to receive the prize.
And I did prep you with this. If you were watching game 1, I prepped you on this that way. We are stepping away from the Invitational when it comes to this question. Speaking of SCG Premium, what SCG Premium writer led this year's Magic World Cup team?
Yeah. So if you were paying any attention to the World Cup, you're going to know this right off the top of your head, which of the premium writers did this. And if you weren't paying attention to the World Cup, well, shame on you, Magic player. Shame on you. There are some awesome images of this Magic player that can be found. I'm thinking right now of like a response to a miracle, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I am.
So if you're out there in the Twitter sphere, make sure to tweet the hashtag SCG Premium, and the answer to Robert's question, which SCG Premium rider was a part of the
led the match.
Led.
He wasn't a part of. Led the team.
Which team are you talking about? There were so many.
Oh,
good question. So make sure you tweet that with the hashtag SCG Premium. Now we're going to go back to our match in question for the U.S. I believe is what Robert was going for there. So we're going to go back to our match in progress. You can see that Trevor on the right, he is once again on the play. He's not happy to be on the play for the game 2 here.
No, because this would put him in a disadvantaged situation when it comes to game 3 if it goes to game 3. Let's look at both sideboards real quick. Trevor, what we have? Well, we already know that he already has Blade Spicer in the deck.
Well, the sideboard options for Trevor, you know, one of the things that a lot of people like to lean on in this matchup is Thragtusk. Thragtusk and Huntmaster both do a great job of buffering up that life total, such that when you're in that race, you saw how Josh Robinson basically was able to get Trevor exactly down to 0 and had pretty much no gas left when he killed Trevor. If you add 5 life to the mix, it's a real issue. So Huntmaster only adds 2, but that's a part that would help that kind of math. Thragtusk adds 5, and on top of that, we've got Crushing Vines and a couple other options that are possible, but those are the main ones. Meanwhile, Josh Robinson, I think we're almost certainly going to see Mental Misstep and Phantasmal Image. Whether he brings in Blade Splice or not is another question.
Okay, we have Trevor goes first turn, land Averson's Pilgrim. Josh Robinson hard casts the Probe to look at his hand. We see a Thragtusk, land, I believe that was another Pilgrim, a Phantasmal Image, but I did not see, I believe I did not see a blue source in his hand. Oh, gut shot to...
There we go. It's the gut shot. Does he have the mean follow-up in hand?
All right. Draw up. There's the bird.
Now you'll notice that Trevor Petrilli led with the Averson's Pilgrim, knowing that the first creature is the most vulnerable one. Averson's Pilgrim might have power, but it does not have all the colors.
It does look like he has another gut shot in hand. He's going to probe him again to draw another card.
What you got in your hand over there looks like there's a Cavern of Souls, amongst many other things.
Okay, another land. Will he do another gut shot at the bird? There it is.
Yep, gut shot, gut shot. This is the thing that the various Bird of Paradise decks fear, is multiple gut shots. It's particularly bad when you get gut shot, snapcast, or gut shot to take out your first 2 mana sources. But fortunately for Trevor, there is no clock on the table that's actually taking advantage of this.
There is a third 1-drop for him with a Bird of Paradise out there again. I believe that's a Kessig Wolf Run. Yes, that is.
You can see a Divine Offering in Josh Robinson's hand. He does know he's playing against Birthing Bod, so he brought in some direct answers.
All right, I saw Vapor Snag. I believe 2 land. That's a Geist in his hand.
Wow. This just in. Danny Goldstein with Zombies has defeated David Bauer with Delver in the other match 2-0. It's already over in the other bracket with Delver going down.
Well, as you know, it's Zombies. As we've seen under the camera with Zombies, Zombies can win really, really quick.
Now we just see a Delver and then a Vapor Snag on that bird. Just basically pushing Trevor back a little bit more. And he wants to have this Delver start doing the work, but the bird's just coming on back. Yet another land. We've got that Cavern of Souls, Thragtusk. That's a very potent combo for Trevor Petrilli.
It does flip, showing another Vapor Snag. So far he's been able to play Vapor Snag, Gut Shot, 2 probes, swings in for 3. Trevor needing a land will not block. Divine Offering, Vapor Snag, Geist.
Geist of St. Traft. now Josh Robinson is threatening to attack for 9 damage in the next turn. You can see Trevor Petrilli's hand, Thragtusk, Cavern of Souls, and Phantasmal Image. I think it's very likely that Trevor Petrilli is going to start off on his next turn with Thragtusk, and then go from there, depending on which direction seems best.
Because that will put Trevor back up above 20 life to be able to withstand a hit. And even if he does swing at the Geist, it does not. Yeah, he does not have any evasion for that Geist, like the Spectral Flight, which has seemed to become a little more. It seemed to come back in vogue, at least at this tournament.
Well, I mean, we did see that from Josh Rabbits, amongst others. The question of Spectral Flight, though, it's definitely a one where it's going for a very narrow focus, which sometimes is really great. But the general, traditional way of handling it, oh, here we go. Thragtusk, the Bird of Paradise sitting back as a potential chump blocker. 5 life for Petrilli, and the bird finds itself another bird friend.
7 mana sources, the ability now to activate potentially Kessig Wolf Run next turn with that beast, if he chooses to. He's got a lot of options open now, especially with the fact that now he has the ability to use the Phantasmal Image without any issues.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 3 great options here. Copying a Thragtusk is awesome. Copying a Geist is a hero's demise. And copying the Insectile Aberration can defend him in the air.
Right, swings in for 3, takes Trevor down to 18.
I predict that Trevor, if he copies anything, it will be the Geist to kill or the Thragtusk to help push some more offense, as well as make the race a little bit more unfair yet. What is that? He has drawn another Thragtusk. He has naturally drawn another Thragtusk. This means he can go Thragtusk off of his cavern and then follow up with a Phantasmal Image.
But does he do the Phantasmal Image first?
No.
In case he has a mana leak or something? In case he has a mana leak to
that's fair,
protect
that's fair.
himself against
that's
that?
fair, that's fair. Except for it does mean that a Vapor Snag will be a little bit more effective. Okay. Still not great, though, because Josh Robinson, if he's Vapor Snagging a Thragtusk, that's not a happy place to be.
No. All right. Decision time here by Josh. We know he has Vapor Snag, Gut Shot, and Divine Offering in his hand.
Post-combat, there we have the image playing around the mana leak. Oh, he copies the Thragtusk, gains 5 life, goes up to 23, and now he can go Cavern, Thragtusk, go up to 28.
Wow.
He is pushing, looks like 15 damage onto the table. Wow, this is not the place that Josh Robinson wants to be. He looked like he was in great shape there, and it fell apart in the last 2 turns.
Yeah, Josh Robinson has no mass removal at all in his hand. I mean, he could have an Oblivion Ring he brought in from the sideboard.
Heck, you know, someone run over there, give him a Day of Judgment. He's still in trouble.
So he's going to swing. Double block to make absolutely sure of that.
And you see the double block there. The Geist is going to get eaten up. And 4 damage in the air to Trevor Petrilli puts him down to a whopping 24.
It was actually a fairly good play by Trevor, because he did play around the Vapor Snag by putting them both there to kill
he
him.
wants to make sure that nothing happens so that Geist doesn't get to swing one more time. Now, Josh can still do stuff about this. He can gut shot the image, and then that will die, and then Vapor Snag the Thragtusk. But once again, Vapor Snagging a Thragtusk, that's not fun.
Yeah, the net profit on that is not good.
Yeah, I think it's called a loss.
Yes.
If you're just joining us, you are watching what looks to be Trevor Petrilli evening up this game. I mean, there's still always the possibility that Josh Robinson will find a way, but it's looking pretty bad right now for Delver. If you are a Delver fan, well, you're going to have to wait till Game 3 to be cheering, I think, because this game isn't looking good, and in the other bracket, Delver has already fallen 2-0 against Zombies.
I know there are a lot of people probably quietly at home waiting to see Zombies versus Pod.
You know, I love watching Magic. I'm happy to watch any kind of Magic. And 2 damage to the real Thragtusk. We see the Angel flit away after combat. Back to the clouds.
He does have another Geist in his hand.
We see another Geist. And is Josh going to follow up with a gut shot on that Thragtusk to finish it off? He does. This leaves Trevor Petrilli with a Beast.
Still, it is another attacking tool that he will get through.
Now let's think about this, right? What happened here? A Thragtusk gained 5 life, killed a Geist of St. Traft, got a gut shot out of Josh's hand. There's still a Beast there. Let's pretend he answered it with, say, a Vapor Snag. That's 3 cards that Thragtusk took down.
Yes, and it cost him 2 life to do it also, because the gut shot was not free.
And that's a 6 life swing because, I mean, there's also the 4 life that you would gain. 5 minus 1 from the Vapor Snag. That's presuming, of course, a Vapor Snag takes out that Beast.
And he does have it in hand.
And actually, funny then, the Angel makes that life actually an even proposition because of the 4 life from the Angel.
Yeah, but right now he needs defenders.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, all of that happened, and look at this. There is still 13 power on the board.
And he has Keswick Wolf Run that he can activate also.
Yeah. Now that Keswick Wolf Run, I presume it's going to pump the Thragtusk, honestly. Even though that's all the eggy eggs in the basket, if it gets bounced, well, then you've got a Thragtusk back in your hand.
All right, Trevor is maybe attempting to figure out the math here, or nope, he's going to swing with the main group. All right. So he will use the insect to block probably the first Thragtusk. Bounce Vapor Snag the Beast.
That sounds reasonable. He's still gonna take a wallop from it, but yeah,
this looks like a really, really rough situation for him.
we're in a real tight spot. Okay. On the left, you can see Josh Robinson on the back foot here. Insectile Aberration. He knows the secret, but now he's got to hold back and play defender.
And Trevor swinging with Thragtusk, an image copy of Thragtusk. Oh, he's just going to scoop.
I mean, Trevor just sees, what's he going to do? He's got his Vapor Snag. Let's say that he Vapor Snags the Beast. He's taking 5 from an unblocked Thragtusk, and the real Thragtusk is going to be pumped.
All right. Game 3.
A pair of lopsided games there. And Trevor Petrilli, one of the things that happened this game, he had a Thragtusk and a Cavern of Souls left back in his hand. He pushed down that little combo there, and then on the next turn, had Phantasmal Image and another Thragtusk, and it was just way too much.
Yes. So now that Josh is on the play,
so you can see both players taking a moment here. Josh is reviewing his deck to make sure he feels like he's got his deck set up properly. Trevor on the right, you saw him looking at the deck list of Josh Robinson. In the top 8 of all of these matches, all of the players will have access to the deck list of their opponent. So surprises, no more. You get a chance to know exactly what you're up against.
it's nice because in their situation, they get to think, what would I put in if I was playing against my own deck? And that really does help, because you can sideboard potentially against what your opponent's going to bring in against you. As you can see there, Lauren Lean doing coverage. As you will get at all Star City Opens events, you will get great written text coverage from our group. Glenn Jones, Ruben Bressler, Lauren Lee, the cast of thousands, people here working here this weekend to make sure you enjoy the best Magic possible.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things I'm sure that all of us watching this at this early hour share is a love of Magic. I know that I've been playing for a long time. I imagine that you also have been playing for a long time.
Oh, yes, I have.
And, you know, the idea of what is a long time, someone told me the other day they'd been playing for a long time. They were like, I've been playing since Ravnica. And, you know, that was not very long from my reckoning.
No.
But the point of it all is, I expect to be playing in another 19 years, you know? I'm not sure about any of you out there. Watching Magic right now, I'm so excited by how coverage has developed so that we have so much opportunities to be spectators as well as players.
Well, you look at the early days of coverage when it used to be on ESPN.
I remember that. That was
Yes,
awesome.
yes. And how they could only show you limited things. But, you know, the talent they had in the booth was pretty good back then.
Well, one of my favorite commentating duos, actually, of all time, Randy Buehler, if you're out there, I miss you behind the mic. One of the reasons I love watching Randy Buehler was a Pro Tour champion, had a lot of great insights, but then besides that, he was also one of those people that had that awesome quality of being able to just really be surprised and let you know. It's like, oh, look at what just happened, boom. And him and Brian Hacker, that's a fun commentating duo. Now, I'm happy to be in the booth this weekend, right now with Robert Martin and also with the Ben Sec. I'm Adrian Sullivan if you're just joining us. This is SCG Live.
We are at Game 3 of the semifinals of the Standard Open Series here at Atlanta, Georgia. Wonderful thing about this matchup is, again, it goes to Game 3. We have the fact that Delver is on the play here, so typically you're hoping first turn right away get out there with the aggressiveness, put his opponent on pressure already. We will see what happens.
Oh, for those of you who are either old Seattle players or old Tennessee players, in and out of the screen on the left has been celebrity judge John Carter, savior of Barsoom.
John actually, was it like 6 months ago on the Mothership, had a little profile on him or something? I believe,
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
I first met John at Pro Tour Los Angeles 2. That was the Los Angeles that Dave Price won, the Road Warrior himself. And yeah, John Carter's been in this game for a really long time. You can see also Jared Silva back there.
Jared, a little interesting note about Jared. Jared has his daughter in a contest to become one of Gerber's cutest babies.
That's awesome.
Little fun note.
Now, of course, when it comes to so many personalities in the game of Magic, there are just an incredible amount of stories that are available to be told. You know, once you get deep into the game, you start to learn a lot of these things. You know, you get to find out about things like, just by way of an example, you know, Pro Tour celebrities like Dave Williams, who's definitely had a couple of times where he's, you know, been, I would say, noteworthy in the regular nationwide press.
Yes.
Rather than in just the simple Magic press that we bring you. And, you know, besides that, you know, John Finkel recently, you know, we know him as the greatest player in the world, but the world got to know him as the famed online date article recipient. If you look up that's always a fun one. I just think there's a lot of really interesting people in this game, and so the game itself is great. As you build yourself up through the game and get more and more, you know, of your chops down, you can get up there, be playing in the top 8 of an event like this, play in the top 8 of a Grand Prix, maybe get onto the Pro Tour and become one of those people yourself.
Yeah, you never know.
Here we go. Trevor Petrilli, he is on the draw here. Josh Robinson, oh, wow. I think, okay, I thought I saw Cavern Thragtusk in Trevor Petrilli's hand. Looks like he mulliganed it down to 6. And he's keeping. And Josh opens up with Delver of Secrets on turn 1. And Trevor, the unfortunate turn 1 nothing.
Does he have a turn 2 Ponder to set up?
Delver in for 1 damage, does not flip naturally. And turn 2, go. 2 mana up, that's a scary number. Means mana leak could happen. Visionary, not really a card you usually leak.
Okay, he will draw. Got another land.
Josh Robinson looks, flips, mana leak.
Now
turns the Delver. I know the secret.
Yes, and now if you're Trevor, you know he's got the mana leak in hand. And Josh really has no incentive to, plays the Blade Splicer anyways.
Now, Blade Splicer from the sideboard here. This is a very reasonable card to bring in against a deck that will have Thrag Tusks. A Blade Splicer and a Golem can hold off a Thrag Tusk. Borderland Ranger from Trevor Petrilli.
Getting another land that he desperately needs. Once he gets to 6, Trevor's hand's pretty much a full go.
And now Josh, mana leak in hand, 7 power on the table. And remember that Josh Robinson does have Restoration Angels in his deck list, so that means he could, at the end of any turn, turn a Blade Splicer into a fresh Blade Splicer.
Alrighty, offers it. Quick shuffle there by Josh on Trevor's deck. If you're Josh this turn, it's Golem, Insect, swing in. Is he willing? He's willing to give up the Golem to maybe trade for all of Trevor's creatures?
In for 6. And that Golem has first strike, so...
won't even matter.
Yeah, without something like a gut shot from Trevor Petrilli, which he knows doesn't exist, it's a totally safe attack here.
Looks like he's ready to chump with the Elvish Visionary to prevent the 3. Okay. That will take Trevor down to 13. And again, Trevor should fully well know that he does have the mana leak in hand. Oh, Bonfire.
Oh, wow. That's a nice one.
But it's only for 2.
Only for 2, but I mean, this is still a card that Josh Robinson is not going to want to have resolve. If Josh lets this resolve, it's going to leave him with only a Golem. If he has a Restoration Angel in hand, he could blink the Blade Splicer, get another Golem, then let the Bonfire resolve and have 9 power on the table. So that's also another possibility. That's if he has a Restoration Angel in hand.
The only card we're sure of that we know he does have in his hand is a mana leak. Okay.
There it is. He copies the, not copies, he blinks the Blade Splicer, gets another Golem, and then lets the Bonfire resolve. This puts 9 power into play.
Yeah.
And he says go after laying an Avacyn's Pilgrim. Now we've got a 2-turn clock with a mana leak. This is really bad for Trevor Petrilli. Trevor needs to have a Cavern of Souls and a Thrag Tusk to be in this game. Double block on a Golem. That's a way to kill one Golem, but only if nothing goes wrong.
That will put Trevor down to 7.
And he does it. He just has to hope that nothing goes wrong. And I think that's totally correct. If Josh Robinson has something, Trevor's in terrible shape anyway.
Gut shot.
Ouch. That's too bad for him. Now Trevor Petrilli takes 6, drops to 7, and a Delver of Secrets adds itself to the table.
Amazing. Last game we were talking about how Josh had no gas to continue onward, and right now all he has on the field is offense. Trevor needing more than a miracle here. Yeah, I think that's it.
And he was looking for, he's got the Cavern, he was looking for the Thrag Tusk.
He showed
not quite enough to make it.
He showed Keswick, Wolf Run, Cavern, Land, Land.